on a 2008 Hyundai Veracruz. It's a little SUV with a 3.8 liter engine in it. I went ahead and pulled the codes already. Got pictures of them on the phone. I've got a P2135, P1295, and a P2106. So two of these codes mean that you've gone into limp mode, and the other one means the reason you went to limp mode is because your throttle actuator has a different signal between the pedal and the throttle position sensor. You can see it's removable. This is what it looks like, and it used to be you'd have to spend a whole bunch of money and get it just all in one piece. It'd be like $300-400 bucks. Now they have an updated part for the throttle position sensor. This only has 50,000 miles on it, by the way. So this is the part number here. FFF means that it's been updated. So when you look at this, it's got a little bit of a different configuration. You can see there's a bunch of dirt and contamination inside of here. Now there's an O-ring on the new one, and it's a full circle instead of just having these little ears to get it to line up. When you look here, this is full circle, and again it's full of dirt. So apparently when they decided to update it, they thought, well, hey, let's keep the dirt out of it. Or they thought, hey, all this dirt's making it fail, one or the other. So you got your positive and negative that go through to the other side for the actuation on the motor. I'll show you this. Another thing you want to do, that's Delphi, by the way. You may recognize that from GM. I don't know if that's GM steel or what, but you look here, it says Hyundai, but when you look on the actual sensor part for the TPS, Delphi. Interesting. Here it is. So you want to take these when they're unplugged and the key's off, it's out of the car, is a great time to do it. And you just push it through. And just try to be smooth and gentle. If you push on it too quickly or too hard or too far, you can damage it. It's just little plastic junky gears in these things. This one actually is, you can get in it and look at it. But oftentimes what will happen on like the Chrysler ones is you get a little gear that gets jacked up because there's ice or moisture, and then it forces it, shears the gear. It's kind of like a mechanical fuse, but what's the point of a mechanical fuse if you replace the whole dang thing anyway? I don't know. Long and short of it is you want to make sure that it's not something with a fly-by-wire motor. This feels fine. If you do any RC like I do, look at my little RC planes and stuff on the ceiling and do a bunch of helicopters and stuff. Can you see my helicopters? I guess you can. If you do helicopters, you crash enough to know what a good servo and bad servo feels like. So you just kind of feel this and see if it's smooth and consistent. If you have that, you can kind of hear the gears moving. So this is what a good one sounds like. So anyway, we're going to take this new one, get it installed, clear the codes, and run it like a boss. You'll notice in the package that you get new screws with it. You got these two tabs sticking out, so you got to be careful, make sure that they line up. I just do them first. And then you also have an alignment between your throttle position sensor and that gear. So mine is actually good enough. That'll take. It's not perfectly lined up now, but it will be. Boy, that just doesn't want to go in there. The guy was all worried, the parts guy. He's like, I don't know if this is the right one or not. Is that a 2.7? I'm like, no, it's a 3.8 liter. It's a V6. He's like, well, you can return it if it's not. I'm like, electrical parts you can't return, right? He's like, well, for you I'll do it. I'm like, great, you work Monday, right? No, I don't work except Thursday. I was like, I'm getting this on the weekend because I want to get it done in and out same day. And you're saying I can return this in a long time from now. Great. That's kind of nice of him. Again, this one's Delphi, which has been a supplier for General Motors for quite some time. I'm not sure exactly how long. But when they started putting electronic parts in cars with General Motors, Delphi was the one doing it, it seems. So you got your new screws. What size Torx is this? Is somebody going to ask me that? It's a T20. Probably the most common Torx size there is. Get a few threads started by hand, make sure you're nice and perpendicular. So the TSB for these requires a new throttle body sensor. I'm going to do the rest of this by hand. A new throttle body sensor, and then it also calls for a reflash on the computer. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I may have to get a reflash too, but there may be some kind of setup that you do, and there may be that you don't have to do any of that, so I'll find out and we'll let you know. Sounds like the owner of the other car I just finished is here. In-laws. Beautiful. In order to get this out, it's not hard to get to per se, but you do have to take off 2 nuts and then a bolt, and then you got these coolant hoses. I just use these little parts here that come with fuel pumps, and I just put them in line, and those of course go to your little coolant lines on the back side. It's not going to want to pull off of there, it'll be all spongy, and that's why. Now that we have this assembled together, it's a good idea to make sure that you don't have any burrs or anything hanging up on either end of here. That can be an issue in the future. Ours is clean, looks good enough, so we're going to go ahead and put it back in. You just have one electrical plug on this side, and it's got 4 pins that work for the throttle position sensor. You should only have 2 pins going to here. There's only 2 connectors, so that would leave 6. I'm not sure, I haven't looked at a wire diagram for the unit. So what we do is we'll go ahead and hook the lines up loosely first. Loosely! I'm home! Usually what I'll do is I'll do one side and then the other side. And that way it doesn't get, you know, like a soda straw thing, you stick it in the soda, cover the top, hold it up, and the soda stays in unless you give it a air vent to evacuate. So we just make sure to do one at a time, and that way you don't spill everywhere. Makes it way easier, less cleanup. Can I show you one of my favorite tools in the world? Let me just take a minute. It's 90-degree pliers. I don't even care what brand they are. I actually cut mine down each side, and that way if I have a hose clamp or something, it has a notch to get into, but you still have grip this way anyway. But these things are so stinking handy because it's parallel. See? No matter how big, how small, they're always parallel. It's like a big duckbill pair of pliers, but they can reach in and around and behind things. They're just little miracle makers. They're great. Love them. Pull that one out so I can reach down in there. I can't quite get that hose to reach here, so I'll just grab hold of the hose a little bit lower. You'll have to forgive me, I'm a little bit retarded today. There we go. And by retarded I mean behind, like timing, advanced retard, behind. Alright, so we got our lines connected. The next thing we're going to do is line up our holes. Get this thing on. There's a bracket down here and a wire harness that make this a little bit tricky, fussy. Just got to work with them, be gentle. So you plug it in and then you push the little tab forward, a little gray tab on the back of the plug. You've got nuts that go on the 2 studs and the bolt in the bottom. It's not that complicated. Pretty simple stuff. This one has a bracket on it. You want to make sure you get that on. It goes in the down position so that you can secure this wire harness. Wire here. I can't decide what I want to say. What I like to do is get the first few threads done by hand, or just go in by hand anyway. These things aren't that long. Just feels like I'm taking forever if I'm on camera. Come on, little guy. Because there's 3 sides, it doesn't matter what order you do this in. They're all opposite each other anyway. Go back and check over. You don't want any vacuum leaks at the throttle body. They'll mess you up. Vacuum leaks are bad. Does it have a mass airflow sensor? Yeah, it does. See the mass airflow sensor up underneath it here. Okay, so once you're, go ahead and double check everything, make sure you got things back together. Wires are secured, this is plugged in, your clamps on the coolant lines are in order, and if that's all copacetic, flip this back over the top. Guess I didn't show the teardown, did I? If you're having trouble getting the boot on, pull up your socks. No, I'm just kidding, that's a joke. Get a little silicone spray, hit the top of this thing, just run your finger around it. There's something about silicone spray that just makes anything rubber, O-ring, hose, etc. acquiescent, agreeable, happy, whatever. Fill in your favorite synonym for get happy, get it done. Just gonna buckle this air filter box down. Apparently one of our clamps is hanging under. Forgot to check them before I dropped it on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit these guys. And you got these little safety things on each of them. To get the safety things off the way I got them undone, to get in here to begin with, so I just use a dental pick again with a 90-degree magic bend to it. You just pull them back with that. So once you get it back on, just push them again to the forward position. And then you get your 10mm socket back in there in the game. You have to use that to get the idiot hood off anyway. What's an idiot hood? Well, it's an additional abscess hood that's made by idiotic engineers to fool idiotic car buyers into thinking that the engine is a huge plastic block with no moving parts or plumbing. Cover everything up. It's idiotic because it increases labor times and cost of ownership just by a little, but you add it up, it's just obnoxious. Traps dirt, makes great homes for mice and things because they've got shelter, you know, they're nice and secure, like those cozy little spots. I just hate them. Idiot hoods. Alright, so we're going to go back through. Wire harnesses are secured, nothing's going to vibrate, chafe, and create a short in the future. Everything's on and good. So we just need to clear the codes and run it. Take this idiot hood and we'll put it through a chipper shredder and use it as a substrate for a playground. Wait, this is reality. We'll put it back on. It's like a fake intake manifold of a 6-cylinder V6 and it's oriented in the proper way. It's not, you know, a ram horn or something. It's like let's change the orientation so it just looks right. I don't know, people, suck it up. If you have a new car, you've got airbags, you've got fuel injection, you've got all kinds of crap and moving parts and plumbing. If you buy a fancy nice car, it's turbocharged or something, it's even more plumbing. Just deal with it. Accept it. Quit trying to live in denial. It's like, there's so many words for lying to yourself. Justification, denial, you know, there's all these different terms that we have. Just quit. Just deal with reality, people. Gosh. You don't have to understand everything, but at least accept it. Try it out for a certain number. Make a habit of it. Somebody's real. I remember that one was hard to get out too. All for an idiot hood. Yeah, that hole strip. I only have 5 bolts out of the 6 holes. Must have been in for some dealership work. They were in a hurry because they're not getting paid good. Factory time, that means you get to be ripped off. Congratulations. Well, that's it, folks. We're assembled. I keep thinking there's one more thing. There's some little stupid thing that I'm forgetting. But whatever it is, I've forgotten good because everything looks great. All my plugs pushed back down in there. I think we're good. So we've replaced the throttle position sensor. Hit read codes. Got our 2106 throttle actuator control system. I'll say something like forced low power or forced limp. Limited power. Same thing. 1295. The scanner's not advanced or enough to tell you what that is, but it's the same kind of thing. And then throttle pedal position sensor discrepancy or something like that. Just hold down the erase button Keep on holding, keep on holding, keep on swimming, and we're done. So we'll turn the key off, disconnect the computer. Barrow Cruise, that's pretty cool. You do fancy leather seats, might as well do a cool, look how cool your car is as you get in every time. A little owner satisfaction thing. So anyway, now we just got to drive it and see what it's like.